Hello and welcome back to another episode of It's Always Sunny in Hollywood. We have our last quote-unquote Pride Month pick today, and it's a familiar face on the show. It's another Adam Sandler movie. Why do I keep suggesting these?
And speaking of familiar faces, I am Patrick.
Yes, and I am Drumart.
And I am Lugia. I now
The
pronounce you
usual
Patrick and
suspects.
Drumarts.
What do you expect us to do? We're in different places.
I don't know.
Holy crap,
Kiss.
it's just a Beal. That's unbelievable.
Anyway, Lugia, before we actually get into the movie, you had something you wanted to talk about?
Who, me?
You. You're the only Lugia here, right?
I mean, am I? I don't know.
Is there a doppelganger nearby I don't know about?
Probably.
Well, alright, a Nintendo Direct happened, so we can talk about that briefly. Big year for Mario fans, I guess, because they announced a ton of those. The one that most interested me was Super Mario Bros. Wonder, because it looks like a new Super Mario Bros. Game, but it actually has like a really compelling art style. And it looks like it has a bunch of cool...
And at the end, Mario turns into a Republican.
He
I
turns
remember
into, Vulcan
when New Super Mario Brothers Wii U came out, people really liked that one level where everything looked like it was painted. It seemed like they took that advice and actually stylized the game instead of just making it like the same thing we've seen over and over again.
I love the detail when Mario enters the pipe, he grabs his hat and then he peeks out before he leaves.
The thing that really compelled me was the fact that in New Super Mario Bros. It was just like a regular 3D Mario, a model of Mario, but on a 2D plane. But here it's like they did that like that Peanuts movie thing where it's like a 3D thing, but it's like clearly stylized to look 2D. Like it's got like the same like perspective as like Yoshi's Island, but it's a 3D model, which I think is cool.
I know I joked about the elephant power up, but I've heard people online say they're legitimately curious, like what the other characters will look like.
Yes.
With the power up. Some people are kind of afraid.
Is it confirmed that they're not all going to be elephants?
I don't know. Dude, the game was just announced. I don't know, but I hear comparisons brought up to the that one power up that
Bowser, Elephant Bowser.
I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see.
I really like that one level where like all the like pipes or like all the things in the level were like moving, and
that wasn't just the level. That was because he touched the flower.
Yeah, I was like, that's amazing.
He tripped out on a fucking flower.
Finally, a Mario game that actually looks like it's tripped out on shrooms.
Yoshi's Island has that one level, Touch Fuzzy, Get Dizzy.
Could be referenced.
It feels like it took some inspiration from Alice in Wonderland, which is I guess why it's called Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Yeah, and I think whatchamacallit, because of that they might have Wart, because Wart's the dream one, Super Mario Bros. 2 was the dream one, Alice in Wonderland's a dream thing. Like,
that would be interesting. It's very rare that we get to see Wart outside of a cameo in Link's Awakening. But speaking of Mario, this was the biggest part of the Direct for me, is that Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars is getting a remake. It's not being on the Switch Online service, but no, they've remade the game from the ground up, and I gotta say, it does kind of look like the same game, but I am just so happy. I love Super Mario RPG a lot. And seeing my boys Mallow and Gino back, it's so cathartic.
So here's something kind of funny for me. So a few months ago, when the Wii U eShop was closing, I realized I still had some money left over. So I'm like, all right, what do I want to get? I actually downloaded Mario RPG. I haven't played it yet, but I just downloaded it because it looked interesting. So when they announced a remake, I'm like, oh, okay.
I mean, there's still merit in playing the original.
I know, but it's just kind of funny to me. Damn it, I just bought this.
Have you ever played a Mario RPG?
No. Trying to think. Other than one Pokemon game for the Game Boy Advance, I don't think I've ever played an RPG.
Okay, because I think Mario RPG is a very, very good starting point. I mean, there's also Paper Mario and Mario and Luigi, but the original Mario RPG is definitely one that you should try out first. I don't know, what do you think, Red? You got a booster profile pick and all?
Oh yeah, so I just saw that on Twitter and thought it looked cool. I've never played Super Mario RPG, which is interesting. I played all the other ones. I played the Mario and Luigi games, which probably took the most direct inspiration from him. But yeah, the original never played, so it's gonna be interesting. Art style looks kind of interesting because it looks like it just tried to convert the original art style but into 3D models, which personally I think looks a little bit worse, but it's about what I expected. So yeah, it doesn't look bad. It's kind of funny seeing like them all squished, all the
Like
Mario characters
small
squished like,
Mario.
small like that.
Bowser looks about the same.
Yeah, because like the original game had it look more like kind of like a painting or whatever, but like in here, because it's like just a very clear cut 3D model, it's just like a little bit funny just like seeing them squished. It was like, okay, look at this little tiny Mario.
On a side note, I just want to remind you that the last time we saw Geno before this in an official Mario game was Superstar Saga back in 2003, and he was just a minigame instructor. For a minigame that Mario wins a prize, and he becomes deathly ill from a mushroom that will turn him into a bean.
The king has returned. Yeah, they also announced this Peach game, which they literally just said it's happening. That's it.
We saw like
Not even a title.
we had like 10 seconds of gameplay from it.
Mm-hmm.
Initially, I thought, oh god, Super Princess Peach 2? It could be that, but we don't know.
Also, they're porting Luigi's Mansion 2 to the Switch, which I found weird since Luigi's Mansion 3 came out not too long ago.
And Luigi's Mansion 1 got a 3DS remake.
I don't know. I did play Dark Moon. I did like it, but I don't know. It's
I don't know, I
odd.
haven't heard the best things about Dark Moon in comparison to both the original and 3, really.
Well, 2 is the only Luigi's Mansion game I've played, so I have no frame of reference for how it compares.
Anything else catch your eye about the Direct? I know Pikmin 4 was a huge one, but have you guys played Pikmin?
Nope.
I played the first one, and I own the third one, but I haven't played the third one yet. But yeah, the first one's pretty fun. It's kind of like a classic like RTS game, but like Nintendo-fied, which is neat.
I'm just curious though, are we ever gonna hear anything about Metroid Prime 4?
Bro, don't even get me started.
Well, what happened is last time they announced Metroid Prime 4, they straight up said, "Hey, we kind of fucked up, so we're completely restarting development."
We're rehiring
Um,
developers.
Oh, yeah. But that was like 4 years ago.
I know. It's so excruciating. This is like waiting on Bayonetta 3. It's so...
I've never
Bayonetta
even
3
played a
came out,
Metroid
though.
game, and I'm like, when?
Okay, well, first off, you should. And secondly, I feel like this game is just never gonna come out.
Although
Okay,
now I
where?
have time to actually play the Metroid Prime games because I've been strictly a 2D Metroid guy.
And I gave you Prime Remastered.
Yeah, I know.
Anything else about the Direct?
Not really, just the Mario stuff.
I think the only other thing that caught my attention was Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3 coming to Switch. Which is great because Solid 1 is a great time, and I've wanted to play MGS3 for years. Like close to 15 years, I want to say. But yeah, I think that's about it when it comes to the Direct. Oh, wait. How could I forget? There was another presentation that happened. The Sonic Central.
Oh yeah,
Lego Sonic with a mustache.
I have very little to say about that presentation.
Not really much happened in that. We just got more news on Sonic Superstars. Frontiers got an update, and people are saying that the game is a lot better now than it was before. So I guess that's something. But like in between, it was just a bunch of Lego announcements and Roblox.
And Prime.
That too, yeah. Sonic Prime is getting a second season.
It'll be a
Anything?
good fall though, you know. A 2D Mario game and a 2D Sonic game.
Anything else?
Oh yeah. Teresa Taylor passed away. So she was the drummer for the Butthole Surfers, and she's probably best known for being in the Richard Linklater movie Slacker, which was kind of one of the defining movies of the 90s in Gen Z culture. She's actually on the poster of Slacker, which is kind of interesting because she plays like a relatively like minor role in the film. But yeah,
So
kinda
the
known as
Pulp
the-
Fiction poster all over again.
yeah, she's kind of known as the face of Gen X because yeah, it came out in 1990 and like on the dot and basically like defined the I guess the 90s Gen X kind of attitude. So yeah, rest in peace. And let's see, Smosh.
Yeah, a completely different tone altogether. Smosh is back. Ian and Anthony got back together. They bought the company back, and now they're making videos again. I don't know how familiar you guys are with Smosh back in their early days.
I watched Smosh back in middle school, but it's been like 12 years since I last checked out the channel.
Yeah, I haven't watched their content post 2014, a long time ago. But hey, it's nice to know that they're back together again and doing what they want to do.
And they're like the OG YouTube superstars, right?
Either them or Fred. But well, one's clearly alive. Their channel is alive. I'm pretty sure Lucas is fine, but you know
Lucas
what I mean.
is fine, but I don't know. Like the history is he sold his channel to a company, and then they just didn't do anything with it. I don't know. I am not into Fred lore. Never was. So
Anything else?
No.
that's all I got. So Chuck and Larry.
Yes, so I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry is, you guessed it, an Adam Sandler film. I can't get enough of these. I don't know why. I have a problem. So it was directed by Dennis Duggan, produced by Adam Sandler himself, starring Adam Sandler. And it released on July 12th, 2007. It had a budget of $85 million, and it made about $187 million, so decent success.
Why did it cost that much? 85 million. Where did it all go?
Probably the massive party scene.
Yeah, but like, Boogie Nights costed like much less than
Big Rich Man Adam, I don't know.
Boogie Nights costed 15 million. So it's like, you can do a pretty big party scene without.
They also had the parade and the courtroom. And all the firefighter stuff. I don't know. I've never been in charge of the budget of a movie, so I don't know where all the money went.
It's like a real Tommy Wiseau, spending money on everything. So as for the plot, oh fuck. How do I explain this? So Chuck and Larry, Chuck being played by Adam Sandler and Larry being played by Kevin James, are two firefighters who end up getting into a gay relationship because Larry has found a lapse in his late wife's.
It's they're trying to find a loophole in his pension, and they figure a domestic partnership is the easiest way, and that spirals into them unofficially getting married and trying to fool everybody.
But
he's doing it for his kids because if he dies, he wants them to be in good hands.
But wowie zowie, homophobia exists. And Steve Buscemi says, hey, this ain't legit. Your asses are gonna go to jail. So and now it just becomes Chuck and Larry and their lawyer, Alex, who Chuck has a hard-on for, trying to legitimize their relationship, winning the court case, and after all that, they become straight. In the gay movie, the main characters become straight. Wrap your head around that one.
Well, they were straight from the get-go.
They were straight.
They were trying to convince everybody else they were gay.
But then, by the time the court case happened, they were confirmed to be gay. And then at the very end, in the after-party scene, they just become straight again.
Oh, I had never seen... I'm the only one of the three of us that had never seen this before. Wasn't a fan.
Yeah, no. This was...
No,
surprise. There's a few good moments, but overall, I would not call this good on
This was a movie made for straight people, like, let's be clear.
I mean, okay, first things first, it's a comedy. I want to laugh. I'm a guy who loves to laugh. I laughed one time.
When?
I laughed at the scene when Larry is going through Chuck's mail. I don't know, just the fact that it gets progressively bigger,
doll.
and then the sex doll, and the daughter asks, "What is that?" I'll be honest, that got a laugh out of me.
Oh my fucking god! I just looked at the writers' credits for this, and I'm kind of losing it right now.
Why?
Guess who was one of? There are three writers on this movie: Jim Taylor, and Alexander Payne.
Alexander Payne.
He wrote Election.
Jim Taylor and Alexander Payne, those two were the writers for Election and Sideways and like a bunch of really good movies. So that's insane. There's a third guy on this too called Barry Finero. So I'm gonna assume he's the reason it sucks. But like Jesus Christ, Jim and Alex, what's going on here, buddy?
Maybe that's where the $85 million went.
It was just like a giant laundering scheme so Alexander Payne could get funding for a good mill. Is that what? Is that the new theory? Because right after Chuck and Larry, he released his movie Nebraska, which won an Oscar. So Alexander Payne was still making good shit at this point. Nebraska came out in 2013, so Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, did you guys laugh at all?
Nope.
No.
I spent more time playing Adam Sandler bingo. And apart from one that I missed, which was David Spade, I would have had 3 bingos. So what do you guys think about the main duo, Chuck and Larry?
Fun with chemistry, I guess.
Larry is okay. I did not like Chuck.
I thought their chemistry is fine.
I get that was probably the point, but it took way too long for me to feel any sympathy for him.
I thought it was I think the idea that Adam Sandler is this like player that has sex with like beautiful women constantly, I thought that was like a funnier joke. And I know that wasn't like intended to be a joke, but I thought that was like funnier than any of the actual jokes in the film.
The first big joke in the movie is that Chuck is trying to get a pair of twin sisters to kiss each other.
Yes.
That's the first big joke in the movie. Are we laughing yet?
I feel more empty than anything.
I generally kind of want to wonder what like a gay person would think of this movie because like it doesn't feel like overtly homophobic. Like I mean it is, but like it doesn't feel like as like hatefully homophobic as like other shit. But it's also like so clearly made with straight people, and there's like a ton of gay panic jokes. The way they shoot, they film Jessica Alba is clearly like intended for men. And to be fair, only part of the movie I moderately enjoyed, even though like it's objectively a little bit gross.
Why did they make Steve Buscemi a homophobe? Too. Yeah, there's also racism.
Which I guess expected, you can't really... This movie is exactly what you expect, so like I don't even feel like I can complain, because it's exactly what I expected, so...
It checks off a lot of the boxes on the Adam Sandler tropes list.
Yeah, it's just like Adam Sandler pretends to be gay and wants to bang Jessica Alba. It was like, yeah, this is about what I expected. That's exactly what I thought was going to happen. This movie reminds me of the Johnny Knoxville movie, The Ringer. That one, though, was much actually, like, kind of focused on... Okay, so that movie is about a guy whose uncle basically kind of blackmails his nephew into pretending to be mentally disabled so they can rig the Special Olympics. But despite that...
a South Park episode?
I don't know.
I know there's a South Park episode where
Cartman. Oh yeah, Cartman tries to do that, and like the gag is that Cartman still loses because he's not like physically fit. Like they're still like better. What's cool about that is like John Knoxville. He was the only like disabled, he was the only like abled person playing a disabled person in the cast. Like all the other disabled characters were like actually disabled, and they actually like kind of like did somewhat showcase like it's very offensive, but like it's much better than this because like. One, the jokes were a lot funnier, and two, they actually like try to have like some authenticity to it. It's like you ever see a parody of something where the person clearly doesn't know anything about what they're parodying? Like you watch like a cartoon from the 2000s trying to make fun of anime, and then you like put on like an actual anime like FMA. You're like, what the fuck is this? There's nothing alike. Like that's what like it's kind of like The Ringer feels like it's like authentically like trying to. It's trying to like somewhat authentically represent like the shit when like this clearly wasn't.
One thing I found kind of neat is that Chuck dresses up as Dracula. Adam
At
Sandler
the party,
gets to play Dracula 5 years before Hotel Transylvania. So that's something.
Did they know?
So what did they know? Brian Cox was in The Ringer? Oh Jesus Christ! I didn't realize that was who played his uncle.
Some of these scenes were legitimately hard to sit through, I'll admit. Like, the scene with the pension guy was honestly kind of painful with how hard they tried to come across as gay.
And he's just, like, okay with it, he falls for it.
He doesn't, because he sends Steve Buscemi to check on their garbage.
You know what's a kind of similar movie to this, but it's a lot funnier. And this time it's not like something like The Ringer where I'm like, oh, there's little concessions. There's a movie called The Birdcage where it's this gay couple that's
Yes,
pretending
yes,
to be
yes,
straight.
yes.
You've seen The Birdcage?
That movie is significantly better. I should have done that one.
It was actually one of the things I was going to recommend, but I decided against it. But like, you see, The Birdcage is like fantastic. Nathan Lane and Robin Williams, and they're like pretending to be like Nathan Lane dresses up in drag. Uh, I think his character's a drag queen, and like they pretend to be like a straight couple because their son's fiance's parents are like these conservative politicians. So but yeah, like
That's a better premise. It's more interesting. That's a more interesting premise. A gay couple trying to be straight than a straight couple trying to be gay. But they're not even a
yeah,
couple. But you know,
yeah, bunch of boys.
that's funnier.
Yeah, let's see. What did you think of the actual romance arc in this film with Chuck and Alex?
Chuck is very, very misogynistic.
Yeah. You guys remember the movie Kick-Ass?
I've never seen that.
Nor have I.
There's a very similar joke and dynamic going on in Kick-Ass with and this where character pretends to be gay and then oh he gets to see the lady naked and you're like haha that's so funny and you're just like okay well in the Kick-Ass comic it actually is kind of funny because after he reveals that he's straight because in the movie like they get together in this movie they get together but in the Kick-Ass comic she's horrified and yeah so he absolutely just gets like fucking dunked on because he's a loser and he deserves to be. I feel like the most popular scene from this is like the rain scene where Jessica Alba like takes off the clothes because that's like the only thing I ever see anyone talk about when it comes to this movie. Just being like, oh yeah, this is the one movie where like Jessica Alba like stripped down or whatever. I don't know what the terminology is. That's the only thing I've ever heard anyone talk about before I ever saw the movie, and I was like, okay, cool. Then I watched it, and I was like, all right.
Well, if it means anything, apparently this movie received 8 nominations at the Golden Raspberry Awards, including Worst Picture, Worst Actor, Worst Supporting Actor, Worst Supporting Actress, Worst Director, Worst Screenplay, and Worst Screen Couple. So, I mean, there's
Does
something.
Oh yeah, but does anybody actually care about the Golden Raspberries?
No.
The Golden Raspberries are kind of notoriously like really terrible, and there are many good movies they've nominated that have since gotten or like movies that have since gotten reappraisals or some of them weren't even like hated at the time. Like I think they like nominated Rambo 2 and it was like Rambo 2 is incredibly popular. Rambo 2 inspired like the Metal Gear franchise. Like okay, sure, it's a bad movie, whatever. But I don't know. This one probably deserved it. Like I'd say this is I guess a few times the Razzies got it right. But yeah, I usually think that pretty dumb. Norbit came out this year. Holy shit!
I will say, other than the scene with the mail, the other scene I kind of liked was when Chuck and Larry are sent to different shifts on the fire team, and Larry is going over all the good he and Chuck have done for the team. I thought that was kind of a sweet scene.
So I just learned this. Like, I'm really running out of things to say for this movie. I think we all are, but apparently this was gonna be the idea for this film was initially planned in 1999, as I now pronounce you Joe and Benny, and it would have had Nicolas Cage and Will Smith.
Really?
Yes.
That okay. I have they ever acted in a film together?
I was wondering the exact same thing.
I don't think they have.
Why's Tom Shattuck sound familiar? On
Tom
oh shit!
Shadyac
Yeah, he's the guy that directed Ace Ventura and The Nutty Professor.
and Bruce Almighty.
Yeah, my favorite movie from him is Liar Liar, TBH. I don't really like the other ones that much.
I really like
And
Bruce
Nutty
Almighty.
Professor's okay.
Nutty Professor is a
Anyway,
movie I've started but never finished on multiple occasions.
Nutty Professor is basically just Jekyll and Hyde, but like comedy.
Oh, I know
Yeah,
that. I know that.
yeah, it's okay. It's I think one of the first Eddie Murphy movies that like kind of marketed he's playing multiple characters.
Hercules, Hercules. Anyway, is there anything else we have to say about Chuck and
I
Larry?
don't think I have anything else.
It's
What?
Another Happy Madison movie.
I don't think it's the worst one. Like, I'd probably say Jack and Jill is probably worse than this one, but it doesn't really leave you feeling anything by the end.
Here's the thing. I do think it's the worst one I've seen, at least. And like, just because like, there's one thing I like about Jack and Jill, and that's the Dunkachino stuff. Just Al Pacino's performance in general is kind of funny. There's nothing I like about Chuck and Larry. The closest thing I came to liking about this movie was just sexist. So not really like I praised. It was like, oh wow, like I see a pretty woman, like cool. And that's it. And I was like, all right. And the rest is, even like that scene is like really gross. So.
Like I said, there was the one scene with the male that got a laugh out of me, and the one scene with Larry talking to the fire team.
And I laughed 0 times.
Yeah, I didn't find anything.
The most
funny.
I got out of this was just playing bingo on the side. It's funny how Nowhere made us feel something, but this left us with nothing.
Well, because Nowhere is batshit crazy.
Yeah.
This is just typical Happy Madison. Blech.
All right, so Patrick.
Right. Okay, so we're not even gonna segue.
No, because
fitting, because for my recommendation, I don't have a segue either. Like, I don't know how. Like, there's no connection between it and Chuck and Larry.
Hey, this is a parallel to the movie.
There is no parallel.
There's nothing there, so we got nothing for you.
I guess the biggest parallel between the two is that in Chuck and Larry, the main characters trick everybody. This movie is, about deception and being duped and trickery. One could even say that the characters in this movie have been hoodwinked.
Oh, shit.
It's time, gentlemen. It's time.
I can't believe we've done hoodwinked before we've done a Pixar movie.
We did Turning Red.
Oh, right, we did.
Right.
Did we do DreamWorks yet?
Yeah.
We did Flushed Away. Okay, that makes sense then.
Hoodwinked is a movie we have brought up many a time in the past, but never actually talked about.
Yeah.
Time's come.
Actually, here's a question I just want to ask you guys. Have either of you seen Rashomon or The Usual Suspects?
No.
Okay.
If you're asking me to double feature it, the answer is no.
I'm not asking you to double feature it. It's just those movies are a very big influence on that. So I'm definitely going to talk about it in the show.
Spoiler alert, Hoodwinked is a personal favorite of mine, and I will defend even the shitty aspects of it.
I'm curious to see what I think about it, because I've seen it quite a few times in the past, but it's been some time since my last viewing of it.
Yeah, I still have fond memories of the first one. The second one, I don't.
We don't talk about
the second one is just awful.
We don't. No. This is just Hoodwinked 1. So how are we going to end this episode? You may now
kiss the Larry.
You may now end the podcast. I don't know.